loving yourself is really fucking hard. It really can be, but it also can be so much fun, and it can give you the feeling of fulfillment, of feeling whole, of feeling connected and excited and overflowing with life. This feeling that maybe you've been seeking and looking for in all different places your whole entire life, and in reality, it's inside of you. In reality, you can choose to learn how to love yourself, and it won't happen overnight. You won't wake up one day and suddenly you'll be madly in love with yourself. It's just like any other relationship, any other connection that you might have, you know, it takes practice. And so that's why we're going to talk today about the art of falling in love with yourself. And you are a fucking artiste, okay? Anyone can learn this. It doesn't just happen to a select few of us who, like, God chose, like, you get to be in love with yourself. You have to be stuck in self-hatred for eternity. No. And coming from me, like, I'm still on this journey. Like, I don't love every single part of myself. But recently I've been finding this love in places I never thought I would. And it's been filling me up with so much juice and so much joy that I am overflowing right now. And I just feel like I gotta share this with you guys, because anyone can do this. Anyone can fall in love with themselves. So it's a process, just like anything in life. We're walking the spiral. It's not going to be a linear line. It's not going to be like hate, love, and then you're just like in love forever. You know, just like any other relationship, a romantic relationship, or if you can just think of family or friends that you love deeply, just think about what it takes to fall in love or to feel deep, you know, connection with that person. You want to cultivate trust with each other, right? You want to have fun together, you know? You want to spend quality time together. You usually want to be able to have open, honest conversation, right? Like a space where you can talk freely about anything. Like you feel, you know, your best friend, you feel like you can tell them anything and they won't judge you about it. They comfort you and they support you and they hold you in times of pain and difficulty. Another really important part of like longevity in any relationship is also novelty. Right? Like doing fun, exciting, new, different things with that person, or kind of continuously exploring and getting to know them in new, different ways. Cultivating love for yourself is just the same, but even deeper and even more interesting and powerful than connecting and building a relationship with someone else. So you need to give yourself opportunities to do everything I just described, like to build trust with yourself, to have conversations with yourself, to spend quality time with yourself, to have fun with just yourself. Really being curious and getting to know, like, who am I? Like, what do I really love to do? Like, what makes me laugh? What, like, gives me pleasure? What makes me cry, right? Like, who am I? And being curious to just, like, experience maybe things that make you uncomfortable because it's outside of your comfort zone, so you haven't experienced it before maybe, or it's something that scares you. But maybe exploring those feelings, like diving and leaning in deeper to really intense feelings you might have to try and discover, like, what do they really mean? Like, what do they tell me about who I am? I feel a really practical way for you to begin deepening your love for yourself, really romancing yourself, because that's what we're doing, okay? Like, you just met yourself, like you saw yourself across the bar, across the forest, and you looked into your eyes and you were like, damn, who's that? I want to get to know that, like, sexy thing, right? And even though, you know, you've been in this body for your entire lifetime, there's still parts of you that are a complete mystery to you. And isn't that exciting? Create some containers to really romance yourself, to really get to know yourself, and really enable you to start falling deeply in love with you. So the first one, which is important for any relationship, and yet we forget to give this to ourselves so often, is a space to talk to yourself. Okay, this is a fucking game changer. This, you could probably just do this alone and you will start to like feel the dreamy waves of love falling over you. Either getting a journal, I feel like this is probably the easiest way. A journal, I'm a Gemini moon, so I like to talk it out. So I like to talk to myself on voice memos. You could do videos, creating a space where you can just unedited fucking rant to yourself. You can just actually see your thoughts written out on paper or wherever, you know, spoken out loud. You can actually hear them. You can get them outside and maybe like have a conversation with them, right? Because you're not just like this one being who has one thought all the time. Most likely, at least I am, you're a multidimensional being and you have lots of parts to yourself. You have lots of feelings, experiences, thoughts. It's interesting to get to know them and to have conversations with them and to really like discover yourself just by talking to yourself. The next really important thing that a lot of us forget to do just in the busyness of life, especially if you live with a partner, if you live with your boyfriend, girlfriend, whoever, I feel like this can really get forgotten. I know I've gone through chapters like this, and it's to spend quality time with yourself. This doesn't mean like, okay, I'm gonna spend time with myself, like washing the dishes, or like, oh, I have to do a bunch of errands, I'm gonna go alone, this is my time with myself. No, okay? No one likes doing that shit. I mean, sometimes it's really satisfying to clean and check stuff off your to-do list, but I'm talking about like quality time, right? Like you wouldn't go on a date with someone and the date is to like clean your bathroom, okay? You're going to go on a date, and I love, if you haven't heard this podcast, I'll link it below. Date yourself instead, and this has really been inspiring me recently. So if you want more ideas, check out the podcast that I'll link below. But yeah, going on little dates with yourself, and it doesn't have to be like a full-on Italian restaurant, like fancy dinner date that you would do on a first date, but like maybe you need that at first, right? Like when you're getting to know someone, when you're first getting to know them, you need to kind of like go all out. You need to make your intentions known. So make your intentions known to yourself, right? Like what excites you, what turns you on, what's a really pleasurable, fun activity for you to do with yourself. So I know for me, it's definitely doing this, right? It's like walking in nature, laying in the moss, swimming naked in, you know, a lake or the ocean or wherever, and just connecting. Yeah, the other day I like just brought sushi to myself to the beach, and then I watched the sunset alone, and like that was fucking romantic. That was delicious. And sometimes maybe you do want to splurge, right? You are gonna pay, like pay, and you deserve $20 worth of sushi, right? And there will be parts of yourself that are trying to convince you like, oh no, like that's too expensive, or like, oh no, I'll just go home, like it's fine, I'm tired. No. If that is the reason why, if those are the excuses, or why is because, you know, oh, I'm too tired, oh, it's too expensive, and obviously be reasonable here, or like, oh, like I don't deserve that. Those are the parts of you that feel unloved, that feel unworthy, that feel like they don't deserve to be romanced, or, you know, just like filled with love and adoration. And those are the parts that really need you to go buy that sushi and watch that sunset. Another really important aspect is to build trust with yourself. And this is like a less fun part, maybe. You can make it fun though. I'll share with you how to make it fun in a second. Why do you trust your boyfriend, girlfriend, partner, whoever, right? Just think about that. Or like, why do you trust your parents, or your siblings, or your best friend? They're there for you when you need them. Is it because you know they won't like cheat on you, or you know you can rely on them? Because they support you and they help you, and they've shown you time after time that you can rely on them. And so building trust with yourself is pretty similar, that you need to begin to show yourself that you're a safe person to be with, that you can rely on you. I know for me, I have a fucking chronic issue of promising myself shit, of like having revelations and then being like, okay, I promise I'm gonna wake up at 5 a.m. every day and meditate for an hour. Like all these like absurd, like insane promises, and all at once, you know, I'm gonna do like this challenge and I'm gonna be the best version of myself ever. And then the next day, what do? I fucking snooze the alarm. Just those little things like that, slowly you stop believing that you can rely on yourself, that you can trust you. Or like say you self-sabotage, or you kind of do little things. Like, I know for me, I will tell myself every night, okay, I'm gonna sleep early so I can wake up early tomorrow and have enough sleep and feel really refreshed tomorrow. And then what do? I scroll on my phone, and I keep scrolling and I keep scrolling, and it's like this like addictive energy, which I feel is like this self-sabotaging energy that I'm feeding within me. It's really, I feel like this cycle that we have to slowly become aware of. And when we put that in our mind, like, I want to build trust with myself, we become aware of it, and then we can choose to make different choices. And it's kind of like becoming our own parent, our own mother, father. Like, it's like mothering ourselves in this way where we start to take care of ourselves and choose to love ourselves in each moment. And this is like the deep part that like has so many layers and will take a long time to do, and I'm working through it so much. Like, I'm definitely not a master artiste in loving myself, but it's something that's been so fascinating that I've been learning recently. It feels so nourishing, right? Like, to mother yourself, to care for yourself, to be like, what do I actually really need right now? What do I really desire? What would make me feel good and cared for and loved? And maybe that means stuff that you don't really want to do. Like, maybe that means taking a shower or cleaning your room. But when you do that, you feel so much more nourished and grounded and just like loved. Fun way though that you can build trust with yourself, and also just like in general kind of like falling in love with life itself, like the magic of life, is to be courageous and kind of like do stuff that kind of scares you but like kind of excites you. Like, it's that perfect blend, right? Like, you don't want to just like shock your nervous system so much that you're just like scared and feel unsafe, but it's kind of this in-between thing. So like for me, I recently got a scooter, kind of like a Vespa. I'm living here on an island on the west coast of Canada, and I really needed a way to get around. I really needed a vehicle. It seemed to be the only way was to get the scooter. Like, it was too expensive to get a car. And so I had to really push myself out of my comfort zone, and I do that basically every time I ride the scooter. I've had it for like a month now, but it still kind of scares me sometimes. But like, the more you do it, the more you get comfortable. So the more I did this thing that I felt really drawn to, that excited me but also scared the fuck out of me, the more I showed myself that I'm capable, the more I showed myself that I can be trusted, the more I showed myself that I, can do things that are scary, that are outside of my comfort zone, and they can be fun, they can be liberating, they can be safe. So it's like, you can build trust with yourself in ways that aren't just like super dark and deep and kind of like intense. Like, it is intense, but in like a fun way. But yeah, like having stuff that it's like, this is almost like a non-negotiable, right? Like, for me, I'm really flowy, so I'm like, nothing is non-negotiable, but like right, like having these commitments to yourself, just like we're saying. So this will help you build trust with yourself, like having commitments, rituals, routines that really help you to remember who you are, who give you space to ground and to release and to cleanse, to let go, to reconnect, right? So like every Saturday I'm going on a date with myself. Like, this is non-negotiable, and creating those boundaries so that, it might be hard when you have a partner and you just want to like snuggle them and hang out with them all the time. But you made this commitment to yourself, right? Like, you have a structure in place, so you make sure that time doesn't slip away from you. You do have time because this is like your intention. Like, be kind of intentional with creating these different structures and rhythms and rituals to really nourish yourself, right? So it could just be really practical things like that, or it could be magical things depending on your personality. And then also leaving space to like expand and grow and let life like move through you, right? Like, life gets boring when it's the same old robotic shit all the time, right? So yeah, like, have fun. Like, loving yourself is a fucking journey, and there's also so many beliefs that are gonna come up, and that's why it's so important to have that space to have conversation with yourself, to really release and really discover all those parts of you that feel unworthy, that feel like you're disgusting, there's something wrong with you, like, all these parts of you. Like, I know when I first started falling in love with my boyfriend, I was shown all these parts, and he would be, just like, like showering me in adoration and just really loving me up, and I was just like, oh, I cannot receive that. And so you might feel that like repulsion as well to yourself, where you're like, whoa, I don't feel deserving of this. And just, you know, talk to yourself about it, move through it, let yourself release it. And so that's why it's really important to like have this structure and be held, like keep holding yourself, keep mothering yourself, keep nourishing yourself and loving yourself even when you feel like you don't deserve it. And I truly believe that every single person, every living being on this planet and beyond deserves to love themselves. We deserve to. This is our natural state. This is how we were born to be, and we have simply been born into a culture and a time when there are so many programs and traumas and things that have been ingrained in us for so long that have taught us to hate. But now we get to choose, you know, now we're coming online, we're like opening our eyes and we're choosing to see a world that is woven with love. And if you want more love in your life, when you put that love in you, it truly does overflow and inspires you to share that love with others. And of course, you can love others without fully loving yourself, but you can only love them, I believe, as much as you love you. So by loving yourself, you're actually loving everyone else even more. You're actually making this earth an even more beautiful, loving place when you pour love into you. So really, it is not selfish, and you deserve it. Everyone around you deserves for you to love yourself. Okay? And even if you feel like you hate yourself more than anyone you've known, even if you feel like you self-sabotage and you have so much, you know, just like disdain and disgust and repulsion for yourself, you know, maybe you hate being alone or you have a fear of being alone, this is still for you. Every single person is capable of loving themselves. If you can hate yourself, you can also love yourself. If you feel nothing for yourself, you can feel something for yourself. There is no one here that can't do this, and you deserve it. I love you. Thanks for watching to the very end. I appreciate you so much, and I'd love to hear from you in the comments. How do you love to love yourself? Yeah, I'd love to know, like, what am I missing here? What did I forget? Tell me all your tips, your techniques, your secrets in loving yourself. And yeah, I'll see you in my next video. Till then, stay in love.